All right, we are live. So, welcome to another Run Wild with us. Ask us anything. And we are here with two of my favorite people who put up with me entirely too much. uh, Ben and Peter, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great, doing really good. End of the week, Christmas is coming. How about you guys? Hey Ben, what's going on?
Just the same. We're warmer than the rest of the country, so it's good here.
Okay.
I know you're freezing in Florida, Peter.
I can't hear you, Ben.
Yeah, it is hard to hear you.
Is that better?
Uh, Meh. I think he asked how if it's warm in Florida right now.
That's what I
Well,
asked.
on the one hand, it's not cold, but on the other hand, it's freezing because we're used to 70 and 80-degree weather, and when it's 54 degrees or going down to 45, it's like people wearing parkas and long sleeves and long johns and all that. I'm like, it's only 60 degrees out there, yet I've got flannel, t-shirt, jeans. It's crazy. Just the levels that what you're used to. So it's
Mm.
like, is it cold? No, but yeah.
That sounds like that's how it is here in Los Angeles. It's
Okay.
like where it's like in the lows are in the high 40s and the highs are in the like low 60s, or high 60s, low 70s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely it's not cold, but it's not hot either. So, although actually I just realized the three of us are all in warm weather climate areas. And I don't know if that says anything about editors or
Just luck, I guess. I would not want to be in Chicago or New York this weekend.
No.
oh no, no, no. Although I do like a good snowball fight, but I don't really want to be in the snow itself. So,
Yeah, we moved out of Chicago in 2012, the year after the blizzard or the blizzard of 2011. We
oh
had
no way.
3 and a half feet of snow in January.
And what made you pick that part of Florida?
My wife had actually bought the house down there several years before, and
Oh,
so when we sold the house, we're just like, well, let's just consolidate, go down south, closer to her folks, closer to my folks, that kind of thing.
cool.
And then we ended up here on the northeast coast because of my mother, and here we are, 2023. So
Wow.
the thing is, it's really hot in Port Charlotte. I mean, it's hot up until like mid-November, like
Mhm.
too hot to ride a motorcycle. So you can't ride a bike from like April to November, and then it's cold. Then it's December, January, February, and it's more comfortable, but it's just the dynamics aren't right for whatever reason. So
Got it. Yeah. I haven't been on a bike in ages. I used to love riding motorcycles. I've never
uh,
owned one. I was always on the back of it. So,
okay, yeah, I've
yeah.
toured. I've got 36, 37 states. Been riding for
Nice.
37 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a big
That's awesome.
1500. Yeah.
Very cool. Man, we've already got a whole bunch of messages
Oh,
in
cool.
the comments. Yeah. Caroline, some of our regulars and some newbies. We've got Caroline saying, "Hey," um, and she asked what I was going to ask you next. So, what's it like, Ben, where you are? Is it hot? Is it cold? Here, we're both complaining about it being all kinds of cold, which is ridiculous considering where we both came from. But
Yeah. Here's winter. Winter is it'll get cold at night, but then heat up into the 50s and 40s and 50s in the daytime because the sun. But it can have some cold days, and then we're just waiting. I'm waiting for 80. If it's below 80, I'm cold.
hey,
We're all reading from the
you're
same book.
you're allowed, man. You're allowed. Dawn says it's 3 inches of snow here today. Yeah, I remember those days. And CJ says it's raining in South Central PA. Yeah, and I'm guessing what you guys are probably going to get hit what in the next couple of weeks with some snow if it's true to form. Caroline says you wouldn't want to be on Cape Cod tonight getting ready for the wind. Oh yeah, I believe it. And for anybody who's watching this and you're like, what are these people talking about? So we are here with you guys on Thursdays. We're not going to be here next week because heck, it's the holiday. So this is our last Run Wild with us. Ask us anything for 2022. But this is your chance to ask us. We are the acquisition editors and a couple of the editors of Running Wild and RIZE presses. And you literally can ask us whatever you want. You just put that question into the comments section. I typically will repeat it and then we'll just do like a round robin and respond to whatever questions that you may have. And it can be about whatever you want. It could be about editing. It can be about publishing. It can be about printing. It could be about publicity, whatever. It doesn't matter. It could be the weather, just like what we just went off on for the last 5 minutes. Because sure, why not? And have at it. Rod Gilly says, here in Kentucky tonight, it's below 0. Oh my gosh, really? In Kentucky? Wow. It's expecting up to 7 inches of snow. Weird. Yeah, that is weird. I would not have thought that for Kentucky. I thought Kentucky was more of a warmer weather state, but guess not. Caroline says, is everybody ready for the holidays? Gifts bought, ready to go? How about you two? Everything all raring to go?
I'm ready. Kathy and I are celebrating Christmas tomorrow, so all our gifts are wrapped. We're good. I'm very lucky. I don't have to buy gifts for anybody but her, so I think everybody's covered. So yeah, I'm good. How about you guys?
Nice.
We're at the point where every day is Christmas. Okay, go ahead and get it. That's what happens when you have a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old and a wife who's older than that.
That was a smart move, young man. That was a smart move.
It was clicking. I made sure that I better watch out.
You shall live to see another day.
35 years of marriage, I've learned something.
Rod Gilly says, did you guys get your super duper editor bonuses in time for Christmas? Oh, we don't get bonuses. We just get more work. If only we got bonuses. How fabulous would that be? I'm sitting here bitching and I'm the one who's doling out the moolah, but anyway. And I've got me for I buy presents for me, and then I basically get presents for friends that I meet up for like a pseudo Christmas, which basically means like booze. So that's and my idea of the holiday is making pancakes and having prosecco or champagne. But that's we're well beyond the buying presents phase of our lives. I basically walk through each room of my house and go, I should really give things away to Goodwill, because we have far too many things. But anyway, so I'd say we're pretty we're pretty ready. So how are you guys doing with the stuff that you're working on? All good? Or
I'm actually in process of choosing my next book, and I've got someone told one of my authors to have me take a look at something, so I definitely want to check that out. So be something that's very interesting, and I want to pick something from the slush pile as well.
Yeah. Very cool. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I've got two novels on the plate right now, and uh, should have Rise's short story anthology wrapped up hopefully by next week.
My God, Ben, you're a machine.
I know.
No, I've had that since May.
He
But
just keeps going back to the slush
I
pile
had
and
two
saying,
novels this summer that slowed me down, but we got one of them done and one of them still pending. But it's not. It hasn't disappeared. It's still there. But it's and then I think at least two others waiting, and then somebody at Running Wild Press just sent me another one said it's ready to go.
well, I don't know
We
if
won't
that,
mention any names, will we, Lisa?
no, I wouldn't say that it's ready to go. It just means that it's ready for you to read it. That's not the same thing. I'm just putting that out there. So, uh, Holly says, I must not be seeing all the comments. Nothing about 0 degrees in Kentucky or about bonuses. Holly, I think what happens is we log in. This is how you'll know that my day job is as a technologist. We log into this program called StreamYard, and it consolidates all of the comments that we receive across multiple platforms. So this actually gets live streamed against Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I can tell that you are seeing this through Facebook. So most likely what's happening is you're not seeing the YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn comments. Caroline says, sounds great. Huh?
That's what we're here for, to let you know what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole reason we exist, is just to repeat those questions. So Caroline says, sounds great, Lisa. Get that. Thrift shop, here I come. Yeah, I lived off of thrift shops when I was growing up. I seriously, that's how like I got like the majority of my stuff. I was all about a good thrift shop deal. So anyway, um, so Ben, what's the name of the new anthology? Caroline asks.
Oh, it's the one that you're in, Carolina, is Running Wild Press Anthology, short story anthology number 7. It's in production, so you'll see it sometime. And then the other one is the Rise short story anthology volume 1. It's the first one for Rise, and we were in between acquisition editors when we needed to get it done. So I inherited that one, and it's coming as well. So it's both of them have a great collection of stories.
Cool.
And very diverse in nature, but that's by design. That's Running Wild Press.
Oh yeah. Dan Ross says, I see 2 of you sitting in front of books and 1 a fireplace. Does that mean Lisa got all the bonus money this year? No, it means Lisa's in front of a green screen and you can't see the mess. The load of mess that's behind Lisa right now. But you may see more of the load of mess when my cat decides that she's going to have to jump on my lap and obliterate it. So Caroline says, so funny, Ben. I'll watch for my name to crop up. So, oh yeah, always.
Perennials.
I think the anthologies, they'll be coming out if we're in Q1 of 2024. That sounds right, right? The short story anthologies, yeah.
October.
October-ish. Shoo. Okay, if you insist. So
I'm just going by Anthology 6. It was out in October-ish. And so Anthology 7, I didn't fall that far behind.
Yeah, no, not at all. There were a lot of really weird things that happened with those anthologies this year, like people ghosting us.
Yeah.
Yeah. submitting stories, and then like when we turned around and we're like, hey, we have questions about this story, they just disappeared.
Yeah.
So I actually had that. I'm supposed to be editing a memoir right now that I had sent the author a note asking some questions just to make sure that I was like, aligned with what her intentions were for the memoir itself. And yeah, she flat out ghosted me. I think I sent like a half dozen emails asking like, "Hey, are you there? I just have a couple questions." So I finally just ended up rejecting it because we don't have an author.
Yeah.
So so that was an interesting. I've never had that happen before. But hey, I guess we all get to get ghosted at some point. So what are you guys looking forward to in the new year? Anything that you're like really excited about?
I'm looking forward to doing a lot more reading. Actually, I've been letting that go by the wayside, and I want to go through the last several issues of Poets and Writers, really read those columns and essays, whatnot. And then I've got a stack of books. I mean, there's books stacked up all around my studio. I've got this one right here that I've been wanting to read. Is it called Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr?
Cool.
I mean, All That You Cannot See is one of the most fantastic books I've ever read. So I'm really excited to see what this one is about. That one, and then picking up some more projects. Simple stuff, easy.
Caroline, yeah, it's not a big deal. Anyone can do it. Caroline says, "Where'd you guys go? The videos ended." Well, I still see us. Do you guys still see us? Let me see. I don't know, maybe we've disappeared. Okay, so Dawn can see us. All right, so maybe Caroline's... Holly can still see us. Okay, well, so it looks like then I'm guessing Caroline's her connection died. Rod Gilly says, "Hey Ben, remember when I said I was going to stand on the moon with a sign to let the aliens know when one of my books is coming? If you saw the trailer, man, it worked." Okay.
Any marketing effort helps.
It is
there
true.
There are no bad ideas.
We will try. I was going to say we will try anything, but that would be a vast exaggeration. We've tried a lot of stuff. I don't know that we would necessarily do anything, but we have definitely done lots of stuff. So so do you guys have any like Christmas or holiday traditions that you do with your family?
We did for many, many years when I was growing up, and then the family just kind of dispersed. It's just me and my brother now. So traditions are just hanging out with my my outlaws down in Southwest Florida, and it's about it. Low key. Used to have like full families come over for games and whatnot. Christmas Eve would last until 3:00 in the morning. It was a great time, and then things just kind of people grew up. Things kind of went away.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, we don't really have any like traditions. It's more of like, hey, you mean I can sleep in? Wow. That is great. That's pretty much it. So, yeah. How about you, Ben? Does your family do anything? Any traditions?
When the boys were younger, and Christmas was just in a what's next exercise.
Oh.
we started going to Hawaii instead of staying at home, and it became more memorable and something they look forward to more than just the rip it open and then rip it open again. But that ended with the pandemic, of course, and we haven't been back since. So we're in between traditions. We're trying to find our way.
Yeah, same. We don't really, I mean, yeah, because we're not religious. If anything, it's just a reason to relax, which is something I'm not very good at. So, my idea of relaxation is probably somebody else's idea of frenetic. So, oh well. Um, Rod Gilly says, I raid the stocking for stocking stuff or goodies, and then I still have the blessing of going to visit with my mom for Christmas. Oh, well, that's cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
Both of those, raiding the
yeah,
stocking and going to visit your mom.
yeah, definitely, absolutely. I'm trying to think if there's anything that came up in the last week that might be interesting. Um, I don't think so.
Well, I just finished one of the books that I was working on. It was titled June and James, a love story. And the author just came up with a brand new title, which I think works a lot better. Going to be a
Oh,
lot
good.
more interesting. So I think that'll be good for the press, good for the book.
Very cool.
What's the new title, Peter?
This then is what counts, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
I can't remember the book, but I agree.
Caroline says, Lisa, did your ceiling get repaired? No, it did not. I actually spent a little bit of today basically reaching out to the insurance company asking when are they going to send somebody out with either to repair it or to at least cover it before the next rainstorm, because I don't really want it to be raining in my living room again. But so we'll see. Hopefully they'll at least get it covered before the next storm, which is scheduled to happen next week. So,
great. So is that lathing I saw up there on the ceiling? I've never seen lathing in a ceiling before. It's only on walls around in here, older houses.
Lathing,
little 1 by or like 1/2 by 2 or 1/2 by 1 inch strips of wood.
Oh,
that you
yeah.
plaster onto. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. The way they built this house, they first built the first floor as if it was a single story home. And then they built the space in between as if they were building like the crawl space, like underneath the house. And then they built the second story. So, which was really interesting. We live in a historic home in Los Angeles. So I guess they, I highly doubt that you'd find this type of building style in many locations. So I don't know. Adorable kitty, I want a kitty. You can have this kitty. she loves attention, and she loves at basically being in someone's face and 24 hours a day. I'm just kidding. You can't have this kitty, but yeah, it's fun having pets. So if someone is just now dialing in, you are here with Run Wild with us, Ask Us Anything. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm here with Peter and Ben, and we are here to take whatever questions that you may have. It could be about publishing, editing, you name it. We're happy to respond to it. If you are watching this and it is not live, it is not Thursday between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time or 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time, then that's not a big deal. You can just go ahead, toss your questions into the comments section, and we actually monitor it during the week, and we'll respond to whatever questions you may have on the subsequent week. So, if you're watching it and it's the recording, again, not a big deal. Just go ahead, and toss your questions out there, and we will be more than happy to respond. Don McIntyre says, do you contact authors through Submittable only? I remember how they failed to deliver any of my messages to you when we were discussing my contract. I wonder if they're the reason it seems like authors are ghosting you. I wondered if it was a technical issue as well through with Submittable, but this specific author, I emailed her directly a few times and she never responded. So I'm betting it's a pretty good ghosting. But yeah, but no, we don't talk to authors only through Submittable. I just recommend people that if you're gonna be talking about contracts or what have you, you probably want to do it through Submittable because it keeps track of it. Well, I know that you just said that it didn't deliver any of the comments, but you don't want it to get lost in my email is all I'm saying. So because we have had a few authors who are really, really adamant that they email with me directly, but the thing is that I get like thousands of emails a day, and so you probably I honestly do think it's smarter to do it through Submittable, but yeah, a higher likelihood that it's going to get lost if you do it through my email. So,
which means that it's very important to make sure that the email address you have in Submittable is the one you want to receive emails on. Because there have been some times when authors say, oh, I know what happened. And then the email they're checking finally kicks in and we can contact them that way.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, because what Submittable does is it basically forwards any kind of responses to the email of record within Submittable. So if an author opened an account through with an email account that they don't typically actually check or use, then that can cause a lot of challenges. Rod Gilly asks, does Running Wild Press accept novel novella submissions year round? Yeah, we absolutely do. And then we typically usually end up going through all the submissions and picking ones to make offers on about twice a year. Excuse me. We usually intend on doing it once a quarter, but because we caught up in terms of our backlog of submissions. Now it looks like we're doing it closer to about once every 6 months, something like that. Rod Gilly says, Grandma was a Kentucky Cherokee, can send smoke signals. Okay, cool.
Through Submittable, but only through Submittable. Because and back to the submissions with the short stories, the short stories keep coming in year round as well, but we've got to have a cutoff date, or else it'll just be nothing but trying to screen the right stories, and the anthology gets pushed out too far. So that's usually the process to say, well, this is by such and such a date, I'm going to cut it off and just let the others pile up for the next round, or else we'll be screening stories and not editing stories and not producing stories.
Do you have a set limit of how many stories you want in the anthology, or do you look for like a page length for the entire book?
Oh, we've had actually a couple come out with volume 1 and volume 2 of number 5 was the last one. Number 6 came out. On the other hand, it was just once we finally got the stories contracted and the ghosts done away with, it shook out to like 16 stories. So I think 50,000 words is the minimum that we shoot for. Mm-hmm. And then, but the maximum, like I said, we can put it into 2 volumes and have that anthology number, whatever, in 2 volumes. So it really comes down to the stories and the quality of stories that we get. As you know, Peter, it's uh sometimes you get a really good batch that you just can't put any away, and then some you say, well, these really need some work, and let the author know.
Mm.
But somewhere between over 50,000 words plus.
Yeah, and that's true for both the short story anthology and the novella anthology. Uh, we typically minimum 50,000, and usually if it's hitting over 100,000 words total, then we'll break it out into 2 books. So, um, Rod Gilly says, I have the honor of having a short story in the anthology. Do I have to wait a period of time before submitting again? No, you're welcome to keep on sending stuff along. So we've had 1 or 2 instances where we published 2 stories by one author in an anthology. So you're welcome to continue sending stuff along. Uh, Caroline says, "How is this year looking, Ben? To send more shorts in, I have several."
Running Wild Press is sitting about new submissions around 40 right now. And
Oh,
although some of those may be RIZE submissions, so let's say around 30 right now. So yeah, just shoot them in.
yeah.
Once the spring comes, I'll start screening for the next round.
Yeah, and I'm finishing up the novella offers now, so we'll probably start editing the novella anthologies, both Rise and Running Wilds. I would say next week, but I have a feeling it's probably gonna end up being closer, more like the beginning of the year. Just we've had several like back and forths discussions uh, for some of the novellas, so it's taking a little bit longer in terms of negotiations than it usually does, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, so yeah, um, cool.
One editing thing that I came across the last couple of weeks is a story. Well, it was a piece submitted as a story, but in discussions with the author, it's really creative nonfiction, which changes the dynamic of editing it a little bit, because you hear the author is so close to all the details, and sometimes those details need to be longer into a memoir or a creative nonfiction piece. But for a short story, it really needs to add value to the story. All those details need to feed into a story. So it's been a discussion about less is more in the short story world. And you've got to give your readers credit to know to pick up on the story, because that's what they've got an anthology of short stories for. They want a good story. They don't necessarily want to have the life lessons that may come with a memoir, or the life emotions even. Not to say emotion shouldn't be in a short story, but the way you tell an emotion in a memoir is different than the way you would tell it in a short story. And that was an eye opener for me this last couple of weeks, because I came across that. And that's why the RIZE anthology is not in production yet. Any questions?
Oh. Well, but I mean, it's interesting because that's true. We've had that is one of the more common edits or recommendations that we've had for both. Actually, I was going to say for novella and for novels, but I'd say, to Ben's point, in for all forms, is does every uh every portion of that story, does it actually feed to the core story? Because it's very easy, and if it doesn't, then it goes away. And I've actually had a couple of authors who were really upset by that. They wanted to include quite a bit of additional description and like a side story that did not service the story at all. And, so a lot of it was really kind of working with the author on their understanding of, what's serving the story, what's serving the theme, what's serving everything around that core story. And, sometimes the author hadn't necessarily fully decided on what the core story was, and they had to go back and figure it out, and then do revisions from there. So, but yeah, I'd say that's probably one of the more common ones that we've had. Rod Gilly says, I've decided my novel will go out to 25 agents and 25 presses. Running Wild Press will be the first to see it. Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind of you. If all else fails, I'll self-publish it because I will have 2 years of hard labor into that thing. I love it. I believe others may too. That's fabulous. I mean, you don't have to jump right into self-publishing. Like, definitely give folks a shot. I mean, unless that's what you want to do. But some people have been incredibly successful with self-publishing, and it's a lot. If you self-publish, that's a lot of work. Everyone I know who has opted to do self-publishing instead of going with a publisher of some sort, they all that is their biggest comment, is just how much hard work it is. So you might want to just think about it. So yeah.
To touch base on what you guys were talking about, editing creative nonfiction versus fiction, I've come across a couple novels where they were stated this is a fiction novel. This is a novel, not a creative nonfiction. And then I'd ask them about certain details, and I'd be like, well, that's not how it happened. No, that's crossing the line. but it was like that. It was that. It wasn't that. Well, the story fits this, and you said it was this 20 pages ago. So you got to stick with consistency. But yeah, these stories that mirror these authors' lives are little. I just don't know how to approach them. I just do the best I can, I guess.
Especially when it comes up 28 pages ago, and now you're saying it again. And maybe a few different words, but for the most part, it's the same thing you told us already. Mm-hmm. And give your reader credit to remember and know, okay, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. That's not cool to write. I mean, you basically just did a memoir, but now you're trying to have it as if it's as if it's fiction. To Peter's point, that's crossing a line. Like, we could actually get in trouble for that, as can you, whether you realize it or not. Because those people that you're mentioning in this non-memoir, they don't be surprised if they come back to you and say, what the heck is wrong with you? We have actually seen that happen. So Rod says, I don't want to self-publish it, but I recently turned 58. I don't think I have 5 years to wait for Random House. Got it. I understand. Yep, absolutely. So how about you guys? Do you have any goals for next year? Anything that you want to accomplish in 2023? I know, Peter, you mentioned you want to get back into reading more.
Reading and finish the novel, and just basically get into gear. This pandemic kind of threw everybody off, myself as well. So get out of first gear to second or third gear, so that I'm actually producing words. I'm producing books, producing stories, because I got them in me. I just got to get them out and polish them up. And I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to jumping even further into editing. I know it sounds like a broken record, but these are my loves. So it's like, this is stuff I really enjoy doing. It's strange. It's wonderfully gratifying to edit a book, to take it from point A to point Z. It's to watch an author go through, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, yeah, I kind of do, but work with me and see how it is. And some people who are curmudgeons at first by the end of the book, they're like, well, thank you for your fine editing. And wow, we did such a great job. I'm like, you were such an ass in the beginning, man. You had to talk you off a cliff over and over again. But yeah, we got to a point. It's like, you got to trust your editor. I mean, we've been doing this for years. We know what we're doing. Are we the best we can be? No, we're always getting better.
Mhm.
But we still know what we're doing. You got to trust us. And that being said, it's a back and forth. It's not strictly what we have to say. It's what works best for the book and for the story.
Yeah, I have to admit, "Don't be a jerk" is definitely the number one rule that I think all of us try to, not only us we live by, but we also expect others to come to the table with the anti-jerk uh, serum, because man, we've all been doing this, to Peter's point, for quite a while, and does that mean we're always right? No. Does it mean that um, we can always get better? Yes, of course. But you know, there have been some authors who've come to the table and said, like, well, I've been working at this for 10 years or 15 years, so therefore it's perfect. We've all been working on something for 10 or 15 years. I mean, that it's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and does it mean that it's going to be 100% spot on? No, it doesn't. But you gotta trust your editor. And if the editor that you're working with, you don't feel is the right editor for your work, then that's all good. Just say something, and then we'll work on finding an editor who might be more appropriate for your writing style. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we've done that a couple times,
I think
actually.
sometimes the author is hesitant because there's a mystery or something mysterious about the editing process, so they see us as editors as being an enemy sometimes, to where they've got to be defensive going in, and that's always why. It's all about the work. We don't want to make the work something that it's not, or something that we want to make it all it can be, and polish it. So I think we've selected it. We want to make sure that it's as close to everybody's satisfaction as possible.
Yeah, we're not shaping it to what we want it to be.
Right.
We're adding in and pointing out, asking questions, pointing out things. Well, you could expand on this. You could reduce this to make your story better. It's always your story. We're not forcing it in any box, any shape, any format that we like. We're sticking with what you're. I mean, we let things go all the time because it fits the story.
Mhm.
You got too many ain'ts in there. You don't know how to use a quotation mark, that kind of thing. If it fits the story, it stays. It just works. So we're not trying to force anybody into doing anything.
Yeah.
And again, it's the author's work. You have the right to reject or accept anything that we have to say. So it's your book.
Yeah,
I think I've got two authors of novels in the audience tonight, Khalid and Don. And so I have to be careful what I say.
you got more than that.
That's not right. He's an idiot.
You got more than that, man. You got Caroline. I mean, well, and always, and however you're gonna give that feedback or collaborate with your author or your editor, just don't be a jerk about it. You'd be surprised the number of authors who come back and they just assume that because they've spent years on their work, it's now going to become the next multi-million selling huge expansive work. And I mean, it's not that we don't, of course we want it to be multi-million selling, of course we want you to have all that kind of huge success. It's just rare. That's the reality. There are millions of books that are published every year, and think about the numbers that are actually make it to the that are sell more than let's say 15,000 books. It's very rare, believe it or not. So when you're selecting your publisher and you're selecting your editor, because in reality you are. I mean, they're picking you too, obviously, right? But um, you know, if you are made an offer by a publisher and it's not what you wanted, then use it as an opportunity for you to go and find other offers, because that initial offer, that's your leverage, that you can use to take to your dream publisher and see if they would be interested in picking up your work. So
We even received some of those on the other end of it after it's been picked up by someone else and they didn't like what the editors were telling them. So they come to us and tell us. And we've seen a couple of those.
oh yeah, we absolutely have.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, everybody's got their dream publisher. Everyone has well, I can't say everyone has their dream editor. I hope you have a dream editor. um, but always take that into consideration. If you're made an offer by someone or by some house and it's not what you want, use that as leverage. Use it as your opportunity that for you to, um, you know, go out and get other offers. You know, and don't be surprised if you get an offer, and if you come back with stuff that and your publisher says, we're not, that's not our thing, or we don't do that kind of thing, or whatever. um that's okay. Just uh it just means it's more leverage for you to go ahead and go to other houses. So an important note: Ben's red ink is some of the most brilliant red ink I've ever seen. This is Rod Gilly. I've never swam in blood before, but willing to try it. I don't know. I wouldn't call now. Ben's edited my work too. He's not a bloody editor. I don't think you're a bloody editor, but I don't know.
I
That was
didn't think I was.
I that wasn't my experience, but he may have
No,
just been
help
kind to
me.
me. Dawn says, you did a great job on my book. I've had two good experiences with two great editors, but I have heard some horror stories. Yeah, I think we've all experienced horror stories at some point. Uh, but I hope we don't uh, we don't rip pieces apart. Um, but
I
yeah.
think if you're really being honest about the work, you can anticipate where the editor is going to come back and say this needs some help. This is a weak spot. If you're honest, if you're really open to making it the best, that's my personal experience. It was an e-novel 6 years ago, but I knew where it was weak. And the editor did too, and we agreed and we fixed it.
Rod says, maybe because I'm a pretty new writer, a bit of blood seems like a lot. I don't know. I think we should all expect.
There's the pen.
There's the pen. I think I personally, if I were you, if I had if you have a work that's picked up, and if it doesn't have editing on it, right? If the editor doesn't come back with comments or questions, then I would question the editor personally, because I really think that or even if all they come back with is, wow, this was really tight, it's a great story, I can't wait to see what you do next. If they just come back and say, hey, yeah, this is good, I'd be worried. Because I'd question if they'd even read it. But Rod says, Ben, don't terrorize me at Christmas time. Wait for next Halloween. I don't know that he can make any kind of promises. Dawn says, even self-published books need editing. Oh yeah, well, absolutely. I think self-published books especially need editing.
Yeah, especially. I was thinking especially as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because
the author's going to miss things that
Right,
another set of
exactly.
eyes is going to find. And the receptive author go, okay, well, he's saying that or she's saying that to make a point or to make the story, this fact of the story, make more sense, in kind of a way. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, self-publishing, actually, all the self-published authors I know all actually hire third-party editors to have that emotional separation from the work, and so that they can then pick up things that editor will pick up things that the author can't see because they're the ones who wrote the first draft. So, Caroline says, I agree, Lisa. A good editor picks up things that often the author misses. Oh, absolutely, 100%. That's those. And what's funny is, at least my experience has been on both sides, as the editor as well and as the author. When that one bit is picked up, it's like nirvana. Like, oh my gosh, I totally missed that. That's fabulous. Thank you so much. And it's like, it's inspiring. Like, when you've got a really great editor, it can absolutely be 100% inspiring to get those complete those revisions and really elevate that story. So,
or prepare for the sequel.
And prepare for the sequel. Rod Gilly says,
you can't let a character die because the sequel will die with him.
Or you need to make up more characters just so that you can have more sequels. Yeah, why not? Rod says, my wife says I'm her 200-pound 5-year-old. It's almost Christmas. I may be a bit too playful this evening. If so, I'm sorry. I'll tone it down a bit. Rod, have a blast. It doesn't matter. It's all good.
Go nuts.
So. Caroline says, it's very inspiring, so helpful. Well, that's what we're here for. That, and to just break people's hearts. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. That's not why we're here. No. So yeah. And I can't believe we only have like 8 minutes left. That's crazy. So if you are joining us and you have, like, you're popping in the middle of it, you are here with Ben, Peter, and myself, Lisa, and we are here with you on Thursdays, not next Thursday, but most Thursdays between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. CJ says, when doing a beta read, I found the author had changed the MC's name halfway through. Oi! Alexis to Alexa, an editor is essential. Wow. Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've only seen this once where I can't say that. That's not true. Let's just say recently, I saw it where a character was introduced initially as a teenager, and then aged down in a reference later on within the novel, and then further into the novel, the same character was aged up. So I had to tell the author to go back and do a timeline, in essence, of all the critical characters and figure out what the character's age is within the piece, and to make sure everything's appropriate, because it wasn't. So CJ, you're you're absolutely right. Having that beta reader, having an editor, someone to really kind of look and confirm everything is absolutely essential. So Rod says, Ben helped me get my short story just right. Based on that experience, I will never publish anything without an editor. Cool. Wow, Ben, there's a lot of praise on this here comments.
Yeah.
You got a lot to work up.
I had to log in under Rod Gilly and type most of it in myself, but no, it's true. It's just a matter of that extra pair of eyes, and And I love it when another author looks at it to write a blurb about a story and they catch something. That's just one more safety net that makes it perfect, and that's just a good process and practice to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. Holly Rose says too many self-published books are still poorly edited. The cliche that gave rise to the idea that self-published books suck. I dream of a great editor. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. I think, and Holly makes a great point. I think that is where that cliche or that, yeah, that cliche that all self-published books suck, that's spot on. It's because if that author didn't take the time to have an editor go through the work, then, um, it would be the equivalent of us taking a piece that was sent to us and submittable and publishing it directly, right? Not having anybody go over it, not have anybody edit it, not have anybody review it. Um, you really want to have those second set of eyes. So, all right. Go ahead.
It helps with the editor with the right experience as well. With I was thinking of a book I read. It was sent to me by one of our short story authors, and he had military experience, but the military details were wrong. And and I pointed it out to him, and he said, how many people have read this and never took the time to point that out to me? But yeah, you're absolutely right. These are not right. And so it can be that kind of experience to help polish it as well. Remember with the Faith Machine and Tom Milazzo, he had his characters traveling around the country looking to put their team together for the story, and he had people go to Georgia, then back to Kentucky, then over to someplace else. And it was such a, just a logistics thing. Have them go here, and here. It's more linear. And he said, I never thought of that. That makes sense. And typical tone response. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, totally. That's totally a tone response. Like, oh yeah, that I get. Yeah, that I get that. Which is funny because he was in the military, so the fact that
that was two different stories. It wasn't. His details were good.
The details were good. It was just all the travel was haphazard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Rod says, when my short story was accepted, I gave my wife some pom-poms and asked her to chant Rod and Ben rock. She refused. Can you believe that?
Keep your editor. Lose the wife.
So I think you're both going to get hunted down by your significant others. I just wanted to put that out there. I feel like we're on at the tip of the wrong holiday because you're both about to get murdered. Just so you know. I'm just kidding.
Don't make me pull this out again.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh my goodness. Rod, now you're gonna have to come up with a photo of yourself, like with the pom poms. Like, see if she'll like at least take a picture of you getting your little pom poms on. If she won't actually do it,
get a Rod and Ben Rock T-shirt.
Because everybody wants one. Exactly. I mean, you gotta start the trend, man. Oh wait, I forgot. The three of us are kind of immature as well. So sorry.
Yeah. I can just take the T-shirt I have, knock off the S in rocks and red ink Rod and Ben rocks. Because I've got half that shirt already.
Oh well, then it's a done deal, man. Rod says if Ben's wife will take a picture of Ben in his wizard hat, Ooh. All right, man. Game on.
I want to see that picture.
I know, me too. You're gonna have to show up with it next time in the beginning of the year, or actually, how about you join the first one of these of 2023, and you got your little wizard hat on. How about that? I got my Santa T-shirt on. That's the least you can do. And with that, I think we are at the top of the hour. So whew, we made it. And with that, I want to wish everybody a fabulous holiday, and we will see you all in 2023. Ciao.